Welcome to the next episode of videos about my coloring book collection, and today we will start from a romantic country. I own part number 1 and part number 2. I purchased part number 1 many years ago when I just started to color and when I just discovered that Book Depository had international delivery. But when I got the book, I was very disappointed by paper quality. I didn't have polychromos or Prismacolor pencils. I had only Derwent drawings, Derwent color softs and Inktense. I didn't like how they behaved on this paper. I also tested watercolor and colors were very dull and behavior on the paper wasn't great. So I put it aside and I hadn't touched it for several years. Then gradually I was asked by my patrons to start coloring something here, and I started to use Prismacolors, sometimes polychromos and even Neocolor crayons. I still totally dislike this paper and I still don't know which brand is better, but Prismacolors so far gave me the best result. Another problem which I had with this book is that at the moment when I started to color here, all the nicest pictures, like this one, were already colored by other colorists, and I knew that I won't be able to do something similar or something equally beautiful. So here I colored several pictures, and again I wasn't very inspired. Only when I purchased second part I realized that I love airy style, and second part I enjoy much more. It's a pity that I can't purchase for a reasonable price third part, which is even more beautiful. But pictures which I have here in the first part I still love. Many of them have interesting elements. For some of the pictures I try to add something from myself, like those bricks here, for example. I think that those stones I also added. Sorry, I don't remember because it was very old work. I also don't like how Ari do her branches and flowers, so I always try to add more leaves and more flowers here. That was a picture where I did a Neocolor background. I don't like how Neocolor behave here. They don't dry smoothly. They always have those visible brush strokes. But as a quicker way to do background, if it's not very important part, then you can use them. But the majority of picture was done again with Prismacolors. Many pictures are lovely because I love to color interiors, I love to color all garden scenes and beautiful buildings. Just as I said, this first part, well, it suffered because I already saw so many nicely finished pictures that many of my own, they are just not very original. From time to time I try to add something like flowers on the tree, so I have here the spring picture, flowers here and here. I tried to make it more colorful, and I also tried to experiment with various colors for buildings, also quite helpful practice. This one I really love because I called it 50 Shades of Bread. Here with Prismacolor pencils with their beige, brown and yellow colors I tried to show that there are varieties of bread, and yes, they have slightly different colors. I was quite proud of myself when I finished it, and everything, in my opinion, it looks very yummy. I wouldn't mind to eat everything here. On the page on the left I did crazy experiments with the background. Neocolors, which I didn't like in many areas, so I had to mask it with sprinkled shiny metal watercolor paints. I have sparkles of silver blue, silver and then metal orange colors, so it's very sparkly in real life. For the scarecrow and for pumpkins, here I used polychromoses. It's possible to use them, but well, Prismacolors, they blend slightly better, so recently if I color here, I color with Prismacolors. That was my test of paper with color softs, and definitely they are not the best for this paper. Or you need blender. That's another one where I tried to do horse. Well, I'm not very experienced how to color horses, so sometimes it's interesting. I do love head, body not so much, but you need to practice if you want to learn how to do it. Here I mostly love the door, old barn door, mostly green but with slightly visible brown color to show that paint start to pile off. It's very old. And I also added a little bit of stones here to make those boring wall more interesting. Many pictures here I used for practice. This one I abandoned again because I totally disliked how watercolor lay here. I hope that it could be a quick background for me to proceed with the leaves, but then, well, maybe I will finish it, because honestly I don't like unfinished pictures, and here it's not ugly. I just was at that moment I was disappointed in this green color, but I think that it's totally savable. The same thing went here. I did the main image, and then I decided that maybe I can weather like it a little bit to make it older around the corners. I used beige watercolor, and it created such ugly stains that it simply looked dirty. Not like old paper, but like dirty paper. Not a great effect. This one I love, and here surprisingly this watercolor, simple regular watercolor but with minimal amount of water, did a very nice background, exactly what I needed to create contrast for the pansies, for the flowers with those very delicate pink color of petals. And the central image I also love, because there are a lot of warm reflections from candles, from a lamp, so the whole atmosphere is very cozy, and they are reading such a nice picture, the teddy bear, very lovely. This one was fun to do. I did one small portrait after another, where now I use my matchstick mouse when I want to do quick projects. Before I use this one, because you can finish this maybe in 30 minutes, one portrait, and after a couple of weeks of work I finally got my own personal gallery of cats and dogs. I added those stripes to imitate wallpaper. Another one, I really love this palace part of the book, so I enjoyed coloring those interiors. Let me show you my cafe with sweets. Again, pink neo color for the wall. I decided that for patisserie we can use pink to paint the walls, but neo color by themselves didn't work very well, but as a base for pencils that were okay. Mostly here I love this wooden texture on the door and door frame, and of course I enjoyed coloring all the sweets. That was page where I started to color again, so it's quite dear for me. I realized that I love to color such pictures, all those cafe, shops, restaurants. I just need to adjust to the paper quality, and well, even if I don't enjoy it, it's still definitely not the worst. Just need some time to learn how to blend on it. That's why when I started to enjoy Aries style, I decided that I need second tail. Unfortunately, it was already too late for the third tail, but still, in second tail I have so many pictures I want to color that it will have me for maybe 5 lives. As the only picture which I did during this year, it was this, I think that it was yearly cleaning, but it's just a very lovely picture. I don't remember the exact name, but here we have those children who are cleaning the huge horloge on the tower. It was interesting to do bricks. There were so many of them that I decided to divide them at least into 2 color groups. And you know that I love to color gold, so when I have many golden areas, I always enjoy to do such things. And it's all Prismacolor pencils. Oh, this one I still need to finish. It was one of the pictures which I started a couple of days before the war started, 20th of February. Then I abandoned it when I returned to my home. Several months later, I simply forgot about it. It's sad because I love this beginning. It's another experiment with the wood color, slightly more reddish than I usually do. I especially wanted to test it, so I need to finish it. It don't deserve to be abandoned. And here is first of my 2 favorites in this book. Picture spread where I put everything I knew, all my knowledge about shading, about textures. We have this charming town market, and we have so many interesting things here, so you can divide it into, I colored it like parts, first, second, third, fourth, and you are never bored because one day you color sweets or cheese, second day you color various things which we have here, metal things. Next you think how you can color books, so really nice. I decided to use this bright yellow as a color which is repeated everywhere, so somehow to unite those various parts. And it also was quite interesting to invent color for each of the shops. I think that for the seafood restaurant this blue was the best choice. Also for the colorful books I decided to do quite calm, simple gray wall behind. Well, very lovely page, and yeah, I enjoyed every moment of it. Another one which I love because I simply love the subject, and I decided to be a little bit crazy with these colors on the dress, which always remind me about traditional German dresses, you know, like in Munich during Oktoberfest. But I decided that colors can be even a little bit more crazy, so I use those cobalt, turquoise and aquamarine shades. I really want to do this one. This one I did for Easter. I don't know if I like it. I had this idea to show that the whole tree with Easter eggs is highlighted by those rays of light coming from the window, but I didn't manage to do the effect properly. Now I think that if I would do darker curtains and darker wallpaper, effect of those lights would be more visible. Here it lacks dark colors and strong shadows, but some of the elements was nice to color. I didn't have many pictures for Easter, so I was pleased to find at least something to color. And that's my second favorite, my famous spread with which shop, which for me is totally illustration for Harry Potter Diagon Alley, because here we can find brooms, we can find cauldrons, we can find some potions, books, and even owls for wizards. There wizards were. It also was a pleasure to color. Yes, it was long, but because you finish one project after another one, it's never boring. And I love to do pictures where I have night or evening scenes, so we have dark background and then a very bright warm reflections of light coming from inside of the buildings. It always look very nice, very spectacular, this trick, so I used it here. another lovely page and another picture inspired by Harry Potter. I totally can imagine that one of their study rooms could look exactly like this one. Here we have a girl who dreamed when she did her homework. I added those bright light coming from the cauldron, so maybe she was in the middle of some experiments, some preparation of some potion. Maybe it looks a little bit crowded. Maybe I would prefer to have picture with slightly lesser amount of details, maybe here, so we can concentrate on the main character. But at least with this bright blue color for the table, I tried to attract attention to the girl. Oh, I think that this also was work for this year, and here I successfully used neo colors. So here I definitely think that, yeah, it's relatively recent work. I think that I did it this summer. So the book isn't totally abandoned. Here I think that my blending started to look more smooth and I started to do stronger contrast, stronger shadows. So I really love how this embossed board look. Again, I used this trick with a lot of yellow reflections from the lantern and from the castle. I think that it also added nice touch to the whole picture. And of course this geese, it's adorable. I'm glad that we can find it almost on each picture. It's a very nice feature of this book. Here, another simple, nice, well, maybe I don't like how I did those trees, but the inner part of this room to study plants, I think that it looks not so bad. And I would also want to color this one. It's such a lovely page. I hope that next year I will gather my courage and I will do it. I think that my last project here, and I also want to do this market, but look at those details. I will need a month to finish it. But it will be lovely. Just like I think that very lovely looks this Christmas spread. When I looked at this page, I immediately got this idea that I want to use for the walls of the palace only cold colors, like everything is frozen. In such a way it creates really good contrast to the nutcrackers and to the Christmas decorations. Some decorations I added from myself. I wanted all Christmas trees to look very festive. Well, I love that it has this very good contrast of cold and warm colors. In such a way, the reindeer with the bow and nutcrackers, they immediately pop up. And when I sprinkled it with white paint, it started to look really like very wintry. And again, very festive tiny geese. Yes, that's all, and I will try to do more pictures in this book next year. Maybe not in the first part, because this one is much more interesting. Now I also wanted to show this Martin Noble book. Maybe it's not collected in same with Romantic Country. I simply didn't know in which part of my review to put it. So I received this as a present. I really wanted it because I love everything by Martin Noble, but I hope that paper in this book would be at least similar to Creative Heaven paper, and my disappointment was huge when I discovered that paper is much thin. When you can see lines through the paper, it's really not great, and it also means that markers didn't blend well here, and to do pictures only with pencils, it's also very difficult. Well, so far I did only one page, and yeah, it was slightly a shock for me, paper quality, but now after maybe 6 months of break, I am ready to return to it because pictures are amazing, and it's theme of book which I absolutely love, travel, various places. Some of them I have visited, some of them I dream to visit one day. So I absolutely love pictures, but paper, why it's so bad? Why they couldn't print it in normal paper and to rise cost of the book maybe a couple of dollars more. It's a shame. But I think that even with such paper I managed to do quite normal work here. Here we have the Saint Sophia Cathedral in Istanbul in Turkey. Here I used markers, I used Derwent drawings and Prismacolor pencils. I used Derwent drawings also on the fur and a lot of paint to mask excessive lines which I didn't like on the water and on the fur. Well, I need to gather my courage and to do another coloring on bad paper. From time to time I try to do such works, and then after such suffering I return to the books printed on more normal paper. But it's a shame when such a beauty is wasted because of the paper quality. I imagine how many other colorists, maybe who doesn't own markers yet or have only one brand of pencils, how they would suffer. I started to combine softer and harder pencils, alcohol markers plus pencils, and in such way you can get at least something normal on this paper. But if I have this book in the beginning of my hobby with very limited art supplies, it would be a total disaster and disappointment. Now I have several books published by Blue Angel Publishing. They are actually one of my favorite publishers because their paper is amazing both for watercolor and for pencils. Here I have a book by Josephine Wall. Actually, book is very difficult and it's mostly why I hadn't colored here a lot. I have only 2 pictures here. The first one I did when I just got the book to test paper. I colored it almost completely with watercolors. The problem is that beautiful paintings by Josephine Wall, they transformed into line art with excessive amount of lines. So in order to get the main image here, you definitely need to look at the original painting, and yeah, it's also quite difficult to color over them. But if you manage to resolve such puzzle, you can get really beautiful pictures. My second finished picture here I did during COVID time, when it just started to spread and the whole world was shocked and we started to realize how fragile is the world. And that's what inspired me to do this page. I really love this very tender angel. I decided that apart from her hair, everything will be in very light pastel colors. So it's all great lavender, pink and powder blue from Prismacolors, and of course a lot of white paint. And then I did this airs. Around it I did watercolor background, regular with matte surface, and around the globe I added metal sparkle blue or metal silver, something like this. So it helped me to do this light halo around the ears, and then I sparkled it a little bit with gold. I hope that you will be able to see at least something from these details on the screen. So I think that picture is really lovely. I love color palette here and I enjoyed doing it. It really felt was important for me to do it at that moment. That I remember that it really helped me to lift my spirit when we learn such things like isolation or other things. So I still think that this picture resonates a lot with my soul, because now I feel that maybe Earth is even more in danger. Anyway, I hope that one day I will find more inspiration to do pictures here. They are nice, but person who transformed full color art into line art, well, maybe had to work a little bit harder and to simplify try to simplify pictures and to use a lesser amount of details. But of course, with such style of paintings, it's really very difficult work to transform it into a line art, so I don't mind. And the last artist in this video will be J.Becket-Griffith. And it's the saddest moment of this year that I hadn't touched any of her books, despite the fact that I absolutely love J.Becket-Griffith and I love these editions. Shame on me, I don't know what to say, I just will try to rectify this error. I miss these books, I love them, and I don't understand. They are sitting on the top shelf on my bookshelf, so every time I go I look at them like, oh yes, my next project will be in J.Becket-Griffith. But then something happened, like you need to color Halloween pictures, you need to color Christmas picture. Well, I don't have any explanations. This Alice in Wonderland I hadn't touched at all. It has very nice pictures, very interesting idea of Alice traveling through the famous paintings by various artists, various painters, so it's in the same time interesting to color and fun and instructive to remind yourself about specific colors for each of the painters, each of the paintings, so it could be really very interesting to color. Not an easy book, but again, I don't know why I hadn't colored it. In Mermaids, so far I did couple of pictures, and both I did during Mermaids, so it's like book which I always use during May. The first here I did because I wanted to color all those corals and seashells. Well, she is lovely, and the only area I maybe don't like a lot is those stones behind her. Original line art wasn't very clear, so I also didn't do very good work by defining it, and now I would think that I simply had to use darker colors for stronger contrast, and it would be much better and it would improve the final look. But I love upper part, how this dark brown background create contrast to the corals and to her hair. My second work here is much better in my opinion. It's a series of those microcosm paintings. I wanted to color all of them, but so far I did only one, but I think that it's lovely. For me, it's in relatively limited color palette. I deliberately use this one for coat, this olive green colors for coat to create good contrast to the blue on the glass here and here. She has some kind of magical potion here. I did it mostly because I wasn't able to blend very smoothly the whole background with pencils. Even if paper is great, still I got some lighter areas, and I decided that why don't I use it as some kind of magical smoke maybe coming from the bottle. And I added everywhere this lavender color to make it more magical, just like tiny gemstone on her jewelry. And it was interesting to color these tiny creatures, tiny monsters inside of the glass jar. There are similar pictures here, and I really wanted to do it. Actually want to color everything here. Yeah, another one, and a lady is even more beautiful. So when I start to color here again, this will be my project number 1. Big shame that even during this Halloween I haven't colored any picture here in Halloween book, which is probably my favorite. I love this slightly dark taste of pictures which you have here, and beautiful gothic princess. They have more beautiful faces comparing to her regular angels, and I love their medieval dresses. As for finished projects, I have this finished page with 4 miniatures where I tested various pencil brands: Arteza, Polychromos, Derwent Color Softs, and Prismacolors. Well, everything went well, but still Prismacolors with their battery effect are my favorites. In this book, on this paper, I even enjoy to do backgrounds with pencils. The only thing I don't like in J.Becket-Griffith books is her cats. For me, they are, well, not great, but pictures where she has her illustrations to her Venice pictures, they are great, like this one. Her vampires pictures, they are amazing. My second finished picture here, it's this beautiful lady with wolf. I love that background is relatively empty, but it still required me a lot of work to do this shading on marble with a little bit of green as small reflections, small highlights, and then blended into bluish gray color, and her autumn colors very rich wine red and those golden embroidery on it. It was really a pleasure to color in it. Her wolves and dogs are good, but her cats, well, sorry, that's the only element of J.Becket-Griffith pictures which I dislike. The rest I absolutely love. I know that she's not very popular, not many people love her girls with such faces, but for me, pictures are really lovely, and yeah, I was very lucky that my favorite artist was printed by such a good publisher, and that books are printed on great paper. Now, in her first book, I have my biggest amount of finished pictures. Even if they are old, I still love all of them. Another one which I did in the same moment which I did that picture about fragility of the earth and world. So here we have the world. The girl, maybe she's an angel, in all those light pastel colors. She's standing in the last normal area of the ocean. The rest is already full of monsters and creatures. So to emphasize this effect, I used unusual color for the water. It's dark gray even with reddish highlights. And I tried to add more hope to this page by adding those rays of light. Maybe they are childish looking with those straight white lines, but I hope that you can read this effect of light coming from above the clouds, and that she started to be more highlighted by the sun. Maybe it's not perfect technically, but I love my idea behind the page. Many lovely pictures here. I love to experiment with colors for sky, for clouds. Many of them have these steampunk details, which I also love to color. Really, I absolutely love this book. I fall in love with it when I saw a picture by Peter Hewitt, which he finished. I think that it also was for Halloween Sam. Yeah, this one. And I immediately wanted it. When I discovered other books by Jasmine, I really wanted to have a full collection. I enjoy doing both smaller and bigger pictures. Next I have my perfect couple of pirate girls. I love both, and I'm glad that I experimented with hair color, and also it was one of my first successful attempts how to color water with pencils. You can see that blending here is really good. Even with my very rushed technique, when I color very quickly and with big pressure, you can do very smooth blending on this paper. And that's another one, Captain Molly Morgan. She's a little bit pissed off. I really love how Jasmine managed to show that she has very strong will, she has nice character, definitely girl with the courage to be a captain. And I wanted to show that maybe she's somewhere on Caribbean island, so atmosphere is tropical. That's why I used very bright colors for sky, clouds and water. That's another one where I love Ladybug Cat. I have no idea how to improve it. I love her pictures with apocalyptic vibe. Maybe they are not very fun, they are slightly sad to color, but you can try various artistic effects on them. Here I mostly love her hair, very light but with interesting blend of warm grey in very light shades, and then slate grey and sap green light. This one I did for Halloween. I try to show that she's reading some kind of magical spell, and from the tip of her wand with this aqua green color she tried to revive her friends, the skeletons. Here I have the mermaid, where I love everything apart those scales on her tail. Maybe those golden scales, it was too much. They so shiny that they distract attention from the rest. But I think that clouds here, and especially contrast between her head and clouds, that area is really very nicely done. I'm proud of myself. Again, it's not a very frequent thing. Here I don't know why I added those stupid dots on the background, but apart from it, I do love the pale Medusa. Here I have Alice. She's also a little bit badass. And you know that I love to color metals. I have this video on YouTube, so I will leave you a link. Here I think that I started it from not very successful moment when I did green frogs, and then I realized that actually they are sitting on the green leaves and we have mass of green behind. Maybe if I select different color for frogs it would be more interesting, but now frogs, they don't distract attention from the girl. The girl I do love. That's page which I always want to do, so again when I start to do it, maybe it will be the Alena. And I love that we have short story, especially about characters which were created by Jasmine herself or illustrations to her books. So we have the short story, it helps to select colors, to imagine story behind. Finally I have Flora. For me it was difficult to finish her, but everything turned exactly like I wanted to. I think that it was one of my best attempts to color grapes, and I love her hair. And then I have this fauna which I still need to finish. I hadn't finished it because of the blogger's problem. I did it, I checked my video, the video quality was awful, something went wrong with lighting and with the color balance. I wasn't able to make anything decent from that video, and somehow it disappointed me and I stopped to color the page. Well, of course I will finish it one day, just need time for everything. And I think that yes, it's my final book in this video, and if I need to do any coloring promises for my future year, it will be to use books by J.Becket-Griffith much more frequently, because for me they gave a lot of pleasure, both with process. As I said, I love to use Prismacolors to blend them on this paper, and also for my fantasy and creativity, because you can use the most unusual color palettes here. I love her works. Thank you, and I will see you with the next episode very soon.